We've been doing movie nights for
years.
Gen Xer and
A Gen Z. Random weird moments that the two of us have experienced, and there are a lot of those.
And he crashes them.
As you do.
It's like, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, where did this come from? Why are we singing?
I mean, you're not going to learn anything about the movies listening to us talk.
This is the Argo City Podcast. Film, conventions, and fan life with Maddie and Matthew. So we are back.
We have returned.
This week is the
Movie Wheel of Boom. And this week we spun Disney's 2016 Zootopia. There was a specific reason that I put this movie on my wheel. And it was because last week when it was my pick, we watched Elementals, which I don't know if it's going to be in the same order or not. It's probably not. But you mentioned during the podcast that you hadn't seen Zootopia when I was talking about the city. And I was like, I'm surprised you hadn't seen it based on the fact that I remember seeing it when I was fairly young.
Yeah, I don't know that we went to see this in the theater. If you went to see this in the theater, you went to see it with somebody else. But I don't remember going to see this. I know I didn't see it. This is the first time I've seen it.
Mm-hmm. And you you had a lot of really interesting thoughts, and especially your reactions throughout this movie was hilarious to watch.
Well, there's stuff about it. I mean, this is a buddy cop movie, and I like buddy cop movies. But it also gets on my bad side right away with some of its philosophies and some of the kind of politics that it seems to be playing into. And I turned to you and I said, I hope we get an arc here where I just hope we get an arc here because I need to see her turn into something different. Mm-hmm. So why don't you give me a summary of it?
So, the story of Zootopia essentially follows our main protagonist, Judy Hopps, who is a rabbit, and she's going through, like, the police academy and goes to this giant city where you can be anything you want. And it's kind of her journey trying to, like, solve this case that's going around with, like, animals going savage with her partner. Well, her begrudgingly abducted partner.
We don't mean official partner. We mean this is just the guy that she's kind of
dragging along. She's dragging him with her.
Because he's not a good guy. He's low-level, street thug, con man.
Yeah, but I actually really like that. I don't know. I like that trope of, like, the bad guy teaming up with a good guy to, like, fight a common enemy. Or, well, I guess it's not really a common enemy in this case, but I've always kind of liked that general trope.
Well, and that was something interesting, too, because we're in the middle of it, and I looked at, like, that's it. I'm rooting for the fox.
Yeah, and I looked at you and I was like, no! You can't be rooting for him! Not now, at least, because he was still a jerk at this point.
Well,
but still!
Yes, but this is one of those things where you get into the difference between people. There was one night I remember I was watching a movie called Heat with Mom.
Okay.
This is an L.A. crime story. It is Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. It's actually the first time that we see them together on screen. Kilmer shows up in it, and it's really, really good. And you've got the detective who's hunting down this gang, and you've got the gang who's trying to make their one last score. Mm-hmm. And I noticed something about 2/3 of the way through it.
What did you notice?
Mom is rooting for the cops. She is totally on the cop's side.
She really likes cop movie stuff, though.
And I am rooting for the gangsters. And I am totally into their side. And it's one of those movies that'll lend itself to that. You could really pick either team. But
that just kind of reminds me as, like, my generation's thing with that, with Twilight, I think it's called.
Yes, Team Jacob
or Jacob or Team what's his name. I never read Twilight. I was too busy reading The Hunger Games.
I read the first one, just like I read the first Hunger Games, which is enough to understand that this is not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling not to get off on that tangent. I will tell you what, though, my favorite Twilight memory is being in the car with you coming home from some shop.
Okay.
Picking up something. It's like, okay, so I'm thinking for TV night, maybe we're gonna try some Twilight Zone. And you were appalled. Like, really?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, well, what's wrong with that? You mean like that vampire thing? No. No.
Oh my gosh, that does sound like something I'd say. Oh no. Oh, that does sound like me. I didn't even know I had a prejudice against that.
You did, and that was fascinating.
That's
and,
so weird. Maybe because I was a Harry Potter girl?
It just means that we brought you up correctly.
Oh my gosh.
So yes, I latched onto the Fox early on, but I also like the whole con man archetype.
Yeah.
I like the stuff like in Ocean's 11 or John Constantine. Those kind of characters appeal to me. Mm-hmm. And he's fun. He is a lot of fun. Just fun fact. So we're watching this on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Which now has commercials.
Oh my god, it's so annoying. If we're paying for a subscription, we really shouldn't have to be dealing with ads.
Yeah, see, and this is, okay, Gen X versus Gen Z, but we're used to commercials. But
if you're paying for a streaming service, though.
We even got it in some cable, though, too. But the thing is, so the Fox is played by Jason Bateman. And the commercial that kept coming up is the current Progressive Insurance commercials with Batman.
It wasn't Progressive. It was State Farm.
Okay. But these State Farm commercials, they're Batman commercials. And do you want Batman or do you want Bateman? So we have him 10 years later doing these commercials for the movie that he's in.
Yeah, you did point that out kind of right away, which was kind of funny.
As soon as I saw the name, but I didn't know until I saw the name.
Yeah, and you didn't really see it until the very end.
There were a lot of these that's like, I kind of hear it, but I kind of don't. The burnout water buffalo at the yoga studio, I looked and like, surely they don't have Tommy Chong for this. Yes, they do.
Yeah, you screamed when his name showed up at the end of the movie. You were really excited about that.
I was pleased to be right about that. And it's just such a...
It's a good cast of people doing it.
It is. And especially since I don't know Judy, I don't know that actress, but I do know Bonnie Hunt. I do know Alan Tudyk. Mm-hmm. You and I are going to start... We're doing preview week for TV night next week, so you're going to see Firefly for the first time.
Yeah, I've got
and he's going to be in that. Alan Tudyk's in that. You've probably seen him in a ton of other stuff, though, too. He's one of those guys who's been in everything.
Huh. Okay. There was one thing I did want to mention on this. Did you know that Zootopia originally had a very different concept for it?
No.
This is nothing like the original concept of the movie. There's like a 17-minute video on YouTube. I'm going to send it to you just so you can check it out at some point. But the original concept of the movie doesn't even have, if I remember correctly, it doesn't even have Judy in it. It actually follows, what's his name? I can never remember.
The Fox?
Yeah, the Fox. It actually follows him as he's attempting to So, predators, when they become of a certain age, they have to wear these collars around their necks, which shock them when they turn aggressive. He creates a place like an amusement park specifically for predators where they can deactivate their collars for a little bit, and they can just kind of be themselves. And there's a bunch of concept art and stuff for it, and it's a much darker premise.
That's kind of what I was thinking, because this feels a lot more hopeful. It's juxtaposing predators versus... prey, but of course the animals have all evolved into a modern humanist society.
Yes, but frankly, I want to see the original concept created because I find that so much more interesting than this movie.
It doesn't have a broad enough appeal for a Disney movie.
Yeah,
would have to be.
I wish they had sent it off to Universal or something. They could have done something cool with it.
They might have, but even for this kind of movie, I think that would make a very good underground film or comic book. To me, it feels perfect for a graphic novel for an artist who can really work with shadows and contrast and lighting. It seems like it's perfect for that. So, did it have the different habitats? Was it still the same kind of world building?
It's been a while since I've seen it. I want to say so, but I'm pretty sure it mostly focuses on that amusement park.
That was something that I thought was interesting. They describe, okay, so the world has these different habitats for different kind of life.
Yeah, and
you've got to be able to deal with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that feels like that'd be a great video game.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't have the time or the place to world build like that. But it feels like it would be a great video game to go and spend some time in each of these, especially if it's an open world.
That would be really interesting. I wonder if Disney did make a game on that. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, kind of jumping in where you were talking about a little bit about the police academy, I was honestly kind of excited watching that particular scene, just based to the fact that as a student in college right now, I am constantly around the police training group there. Like, just for example, back when I would go and walk in the fitness center, a lot of times they'd be running drills down in the area below it. So I'd be kind of above and I'd watch down at them as I'm walking around the track. And heck, I'm in the ILOF building so much nowadays that's one of their main classrooms, and I'll not poke my head in, but I'll look through the window just out of curiosity. And it's cool that I've actually seen some of that training in action. Mm. So I just thought that was really interesting. I just wanted to add that there.
Well, and they do go through a lot of it. But this is where I even begin my problems here. You mentioned that the fox, Nick, that's his name,
Nick,
is just a jerk at the point where I declared my love for him. But I don't know. Judy, to me, is...
She is
horrible.
Yeah, she is kind of horrible towards the start of it.
But everything around her is too. And it's all of this bothers me. There's a moment where Nick, you're not a real cop. And here's the thing. He's right.
What do you mean he's right?
Judy is not a good cop. She's not a real cop. We watched the training. She fails every test. Every time she tries to go through one of those tests. Nope, you dropped, you're dead. Nope, you slipped, you're dead. And it's constant. They put her through because they want the visuals. They want the goodwill of the first rabbit police. And then they put her in the big city. None of this is good. And here's the thing. She's not a good cop. In fact, she's the worst kind of cop. They put her as a meter maid. I'm going to write the most tickets ever.
200 in a day, that was her goal. And she got 200 in a day.
Even when she first shows up, her attitude is so privileged. Oh, what a cute little bunny. No, see, bunnies can call each other cute, but other animals aren't real. I wanted to reach through the television and strangle her. Mm. And I especially hate that kind of an attitude. Your entire life you have been around fandom and around conventions.
Pretty much, yeah.
How often have you ever heard me use the word geek?
Actually, now that you mention it, I don't think at least not when you're being sarcastic.
How often do you hear me use the word nerd?
That's wild.
I don't like those words. I use words like fan.
Or just general weirdo.
I use positive adjectives. Because this idea of, okay, well, you know what? That's not your word. It's my word. We get to use it. I'm reclaiming it. And you're not reclaiming anything. The cheerleaders and jocks that called you nerd or geek, they don't care that you've reclaimed that word. And I don't want to perpetuate that. And I hate it when people use that for themselves. I find all of that offensive. So for her to break that out, and it's her first interaction with her first cop.
It did kind of feel out of place there.
So all of it, and that's where I'm looking at this and like, oh man, I want to see an arc for her. because I want to see her succeed. I want to see her find her best destiny rather than just being in there because Mayor Bellwether wants the first bunny police officer.
Yeah, what did they call it? Like the mammal extension project or something?
Something like that.
I don't remember exactly what it was.
But even that's telling you she's not there because she's the best at her job. And I don't like that. That sets her up to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? She really, again, I'm going to say it. She's not a good cop. What she is good at, she's an excellent detective.
That's a good point. That does seem to be kind of the main thing she does throughout the movie. She's just trying to figure out what happened, why it happened, and what's kind of going on.
And she does find her best destiny. It's not beat cop. It's not rank and file. It's not 90-pound little bunny trying to take down a 200-pound grizzly bear. It's following the clues and figuring out why. It's investigating. Mm-hmm. Now, she also doesn't have the people skills yet, but that's where Nick comes in.
Yeah, she's trying her best, okay? She's trying her best.
And you know what? I think we do get it at the end because she flat out says, you know what? What I realize is we all have our limitations. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of talking about it's you described this to me. The whole thing is follow your dream. Well, to me, it feels more like find your best destiny. And it might not be your dream as you expect it. Mm-hmm. Find where you fit in best. Because not everybody can do everything equally. Not everybody has the aptitude for everything.
Huh.
So I'm glad that we got there.
So, you had a lot of, kind of like turning this to a more lighthearted note, you found a lot of references throughout this movie.
You know what? That I thought was funny too, because there were a lot of jokes in here that were for my age and not for yours.
Yeah, Disney tends to do that. They tend to include a lot of jokes for the adults watching.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. To me, it's a Muppet thing. The Muppets would always do gags and stuff like that would fly right over the kids' heads. And the adults are getting it, and I don't believe they got away with that while the kids are watching the bright colored puppets. But yeah, no, they go into the limo while they're investigating. Mm-hmm. And, there's CDs. And he reads off the names. I didn't catch the names. But then he's got Rat Pack music because they're literally rats on the covers. Yeah. And you're like, so what?
You turned to me and was like, do you know this reference? And I replied, no. And he proceeded to facepalm, looking so disappointed at me.
And so is every Gen Xer listening to this, and Baby Boomer.
I'm sorry, I don't know what it is. I don't listen to normal music. You should know this by now.
Well, this isn't even my generation's music, but I know it. So, back in the 50s, 60s, there's a group of performers that just kind of earn the name of the Rat Pack. So it's Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford.
Why are they called the Rat Pack?
Well, they're the second Rat Pack. The first Rat Pack was a group of actors that went up and were testifying during the McCarthy communist hunts. And because they were taking the side of the communists, they were labeled the Rat Pack. And so Frank was friendly with Humphrey Bogart, who was kind of the ringleader of that. And Bogart kind of passed it along to them. So that's what, and they were entertainers, but they were pals. They would hang out. I love everything about the Rat Pack except their actual music. I don't listen to it. But I love the comedy, and I love the idea, and I love the cool.
So essentially it was just like a group nickname?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I recognize that with my friend's Scooby Squad, as I used to call it. So I kind of get the idea.
We've got our own Scooby Squad with my friends as well. I'll hang out with them on like Free Comic Book Day or at the Christmas party at Carol and John's and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, we're the Scooby Squad because we all dressed up as Scooby-Doo characters for a for a random, like, I don't even know what it was for. It was for a Spirit Week thing. It was a Spirit Week thing.
So we had the Rat Packs. We had a Godfather riff.
Yes, you also proceeded to run out into the hallway and come back with a giant, like, I'm talking a giant
A giant poster of Marlon Brando.
It was cardboard. It wasn't even a giant poster. It was I'm talking like, I think I'm like 5'4", 5'5", and it literally would have come up to like my waist.
It's about 4 feet by 4 feet. I picked it out of somebody's trash.
Of course you did. Where else would you find something so ridiculous?
But the little tiny rodent, whatever he was, is doing a perfect Brando.
He's talking about Mr. Big, the mafia guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and The Godfather is the quintessential. It's the gangster movie. Mm-hmm. It is the most, and it's even happening on the day of my daughter's wedding. All of this. It is so perfect. And then we find out, okay, the mammals, the predators aren't going nuts. They're being drugged.
Yes.
And we get to the...
But hold on. This was a reference that I was aware of way ahead of time, and I was waiting to see your reaction to this. I was waiting.
I'm looking, yellow spacesuit, and it's blue. It's blue. And I looked at you like, this is a Breaking Bad reference.
And I'm just sitting there like nodding
And
excitedly.
then we start hearing him talk on the intercom, and they call him Woolter, Woolter.
I don't think I caught that meme.
Talking to Jesse. So yeah, the amount of these kind of they just kept coming, and
I'm sure there were even more
these are
didn't pick up on.
inappropriate references, though. These are really not. These should not be in a kid's movie.
That was hilarious.
Yes, those are. But then again, that's where I come back to Tommy Chong playing the completely stoned water buffalo. That's again
completely stoned water buffalo.
These are all references that are right there for my age. I noticed something interesting, at least that was interesting to me. So, Nick gets discriminated against because he's a predator, because
he's a fox.
Of his race, and it has a reputation. But Judy, she gets discriminated against because she's physically weaker.
Yeah, she's tiny.
It's tiny, a different kind of discrimination. Adorable. She's getting discriminated against because they're not sure she can do the job. They're discriminating against Nick because they don't think they can trust him.
Can you elaborate on that?
Nick's never shown any indication that he would snap and be a vicious animal. Mm-hmm. But he's still getting... But the bigotry is still against that.
Well, I think the bigotry for him, at least, was more along the lines of being, like, too cunning, being, like, sly as a fox, things like that. That was what they referenced in the flashback scenes.
But they also reference, okay, you're a predator. We're going to muzzle you. It's
That's
those
true.
Teeth we're afraid of. Not the fact that you're going to steal my wallet.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to be able to charm speak you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about that.
So there's a real difference in that. I'm not sure how I feel about them trying to make that equivalency. But I also thought was really interesting, and it comes back to what Judy says about, you know what, we do all have our limitations. Let's try what we can do, try and find out where we belong, what we can do. Mm-hmm. Because even the police cop flat out says, this world has always been broken. That's a really interesting perspective to throw in here. Because It's a very humanist society. But to acknowledge that, no, we're living in a flawed world. We're living in a flawed universe.
Yeah.
And you know what? As evolved as we think we might be.
We talked about this last week as well.
Yeah, the animal is still just below the surface. Mm-hmm. I like seeing all of that. I think all that is a really healthy message to throw in there. So it's a mixed bag for me. It really is all over the place.
So if, out of curiosity, if I was going to ask you, what would you change if, let's say, you're directing this? What exactly would you have changed?
I think what I would have liked to have seen is Judy humbled a little bit earlier and more significantly. I would have liked to have seen the rest of the department be concerned for why this small rabbit is being put on such a dangerous assignment. Not because of bigotry, but because they don't know if she's going to be able to handle some of the physical challenges. And as she fails to accomplish some of these tasks, can't hold down this 250 grizzly bear, can't guard this person, I'd like to have seen her realize that it's not that they're prejudiced against me, it's that there are certain tasks I'm physically not built for. And from there, I'd like to see it drive her towards, but while I can't wrestle down an alligator, I'm excellent at following a trail of clues. And to see that, to see her investigative skills, to see her detective work actually revolutionize the Zootopia Police Department. I think that's what I'd like to have seen. But then again, if they had done that, who's to say I would have liked it? Maybe I would have looked at that as too preachy, too on the nose and not subtle enough. So it's hard to say. I mean, the subtlety is everywhere in here. We have Mayor Bellwether.
Yes.
And, I mean, that name is so on the nose, but it's going to fly over everybody's head. She blows with the wind, with popular opinion.
So that's what you meant by that.
Yes, that's what a bellwether is. You stick your finger up in the wind to see which way it's blowing. And she moves with that.
Yeah, there was something I remember seeing a while back when I watched like a video essay on it. She's constantly going like where the public wants her, following the public people, and that's what you mentioned. I did want to ask, did you call her betrayal or?
I didn't, but it makes sense. And this is another thing I like, that they show. So you have the mayor and the government trying to divide the people, trying to create fear between the races, because this is very much something that we see even today. They've gotten worse in the last 18, 20. I mean, it's gone backwards, and you can pinpoint the government putting its finger on the scale in a couple places to keep that fear going. There's the old law of supply and demand.
Yeah.
Well, the demand for racism from the government, it outweighs the supply. There's not enough actual racists for the government to keep us as divided as they want.
Yeah.
So they've got to push more of it one way or the other. And
government sucks.
That keeps them in power. The fact that this movie straight up went there, that's quite impressive.
Based on your assumption, I'd say we are starting to get there.
So, yeah, where I keep coming back to, it's a whole mixed bag for me. There's some good stuff and some bad stuff. And I think I know how I'd improve it, but you know what? I'm not sure that it would have.
You had even more notes than I did.
But yeah, I think we've sufficiently over-deconstructed this way beyond what it deserves.
Yeah, it's a Disney movie. All right, well.
We'll be back next week with
The Movie Box of Doom.
And we will see you next time.
Bye.